Britain's economic landscape is being reshaped by a series of policies that critics warn are pushing the country to the brink. At the heart of the storm is Chancellor Reeves, whose sweeping tax reforms have ignited fury across business sectors, farming communities, and environmental campaigners. Her vision for a fairer economy is fast descending into a scandal-ridden saga of economic chaos, policy reversals, and public outrage. The revelations are staggering. More than 200,000 jobs could vanish. £15 billion in economic activity could be lost. And even Donald Trump is now looming over British tax decisions. What began as a bold fiscal strategy is spiralling into a triple threat scandal with political consequences Labour never saw coming. In a blistering new report from CBI Economics, commissioned by Family Business UK, it's been revealed that Reeves's changes to inheritance tax reliefs are already inflicting damage on the very fabric of the UK economy. The figures are damning. Nearly a quarter of family businesses have already slashed jobs since the budget. 55% have either paused or cancelled investment plans, and 1 in 10 are preparing to sell up entirely to cover the looming tax burden. The report projects that by 2030, Reeves's reforms will have wiped out 208,500 jobs and decimated £14.9 billion in economic activity, figures that render the government's revenue-raising claims not just questionable, but catastrophically wrong. The reforms in question target business property relief, BPR, and agricultural property relief, APR, two lifelines that have long allowed family businesses and farms to transfer assets between generations without crushing tax burdens. These reliefs are now being capped and tightened. For thousands of family-run firms that have operated for decades, some for over a century, these changes threaten not just their financial health, but their very survival. The fallout has been swift and brutal. 17% of family farms have already cut jobs. Nearly half have frozen investment, and fear is spreading rapidly as the April 2026 implementation date draws closer. Neil Davey, the chief executive of Family Business UK, has warned in stark terms that the government's attempt to squeeze more revenue out of inheritance is backfiring. These tax changes are forcing family-run businesses, the backbone of the UK economy, into difficult decisions that will hurt investment, jobs and growth, he said. The evidence is clear. These policies are already damaging confidence, pushing businesses to sell up, cut back or shut down entirely. Ultimately, it will be working people and communities across the country who pay the price. What's more, the Office for Budget Responsibility has attached a high uncertainty rating to the entire policy, admitting it is unclear how businesses will react, and acknowledging the potential for a decline in the overall tax take. The OBR's own forecasts suggest the Treasury could end up with a £1.9 billion net loss as a direct result of the changes, an irony that hasn't been lost on critics who now accuse the Chancellor of overseeing a tax regime that kills jobs and loses money in one fell swoop. But while Reeves battles backlash at home, she now finds herself embroiled in a second front, this time across the Atlantic. With Donald Trump expected to announce new tariffs on British exports in early April, Reeves has quietly opened the door to watering down the UK's digital services tax, in a move seen by opponents as an extraordinary act of appeasement. The digital services tax, introduced in 2020, was designed to ensure that global tech giants like Meta, Google and Amazon paid their fair share. It has generated approximately £800 million per year. But now, under pressure to secure favourable trade terms with the US, Reeves is reportedly considering changes to the tax to avoid further tariff reprisals from Trump, particularly on steel and aluminium exports. This has sparked fierce condemnation from opposition leaders and trade experts who see the potential rollback as not only a financial blunder, but a dangerous capitulation to foreign pressure. Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey pulled no punches, saying, "Changing the UK's tax policy to appease Donald Trump and Elon Musk is a dangerous path. Appeasement never works with bullies, and it doesn't work with Trump. Look at what he's already done with British steel tariffs." He warned that Labour's economic sovereignty was now at stake. and that the government risked undermining years of hard-won tax reform for the sake of short-term diplomatic expediency. Meanwhile, ministers continue to insist that they will maintain fair taxation while protecting British trade interests. Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds and Tech Secretary Peter Kyle have both been in Washington in recent days, meeting with US officials to navigate the looming crisis. But Labour's refusal to rule out concessions has left many wondering whether Britain's tax policy is now being shaped not in Westminster, but in Mar-a-Lago. And as if that weren't enough, Reeves is now facing a third scandal, this time from Britain's struggling electric vehicle market. In what's been branded a stealth tax on clean transport, Reeves plans to expand the expensive car supplement, often referred to as the luxury car tax, to cover electric vehicles from April 2025. Originally introduced in 2017 for combustion engine vehicles, over 40,000. The tax is set to hit the vast majority of EVs, whose average price now exceeds 60,000. Industry insiders are livid. Analysis by vehicle leasing giant Alphabet shows that just 19% of electric vehicles fall below the £40,000 threshold. Most buyers will now be subject to a 5-year surcharge of £425 annually, plus increases to vehicle excise duty for both new and existing EVs. Second-year V rates for EVs will jump from £0 to £195, applied retroactively. Paul Holland, Managing Director for UK and ANZ Fleet at Corpay, said the new regime could set back the UK's green agenda by years. At a time when businesses need cost-effective options to transition to electric vehicles, further price hikes could delay adoption significantly. This isn't just a tax, it's a disincentive to go green. Reeves has hinted that changes may come in the upcoming spring statement, but Treasury officials have downplayed expectations, repeatedly stating that the spring statement is not a budget. But with pressure mounting from the automotive industry, environmental groups and the business community, Reeves is now cornered on all fronts. And as the controversy snowballs, Reeves faces another blistering attack, this time from her political counterparts. In a dramatic interview with GB News, Shadow Business Secretary Andrew Griffith tore into the Chancellor's economic agenda, branding it Reeves-terity, a new era of austerity under a different name. Griffith warned that Reeves's tax hikes were undermining business confidence and killing growth, citing a total of £40 billion in new taxes, particularly on jobs via national insurance increases. He said the spring statement would only deepen the crisis. She's already clobbered farmers, pensioners, small businesses, and now she's targeting disabled people and civil servants. Griffith challenged the Chancellor's justification for the tax hikes, claiming that the so-called black hole Reeves uses to explain her fiscal tightening has never been verified by the Office for Budget Responsibility. Most of the revenue she raised went on higher public spending, with unreformed public services, he added. She didn't make wise choices then, and she's not making them now. His warning was stark. The combination of anti-business taxes, politically driven appeasement, and punitive green levies risks sending Britain into an economic tailspin. The broader Conservative Party echoed the sentiment, warning that Reeves's leadership was steering the UK into a fiscal minefield with no clear exit. Now, as Reeves prepares to deliver her second major fiscal announcement in the spring statement, the pressure is mounting from every direction. Farmers feel betrayed. Business owners are shutting up shop. Tech experts are alarmed. Drivers are angry. Opposition MPs are circling. And behind it all looms the ghost of Donald Trump, his tariff threats seemingly rewriting Britain's tax code in real time. For a Chancellor once billed as Labour's safe pair of hands, Rachel Reeves is now presiding over a storm of scandals that threaten to derail not just her reputation, but the stability of the UK economy itself. With job losses piling up, businesses closing down, and voters growing restless, one question is being asked to louder than ever. Can Reeves survive this political and economic firestorm? Or is Labour's economic dream already turning into a nightmare?